So welcome to Marafiki Wellness Club. Thank you so much, Michael, Rachel, Musandela, Adelina, Miss Holly, Esther, and Cassandra for joining us. This is going to be recorded so that we can share it with other people. Okay, so let's begin. Atomic Habits Webinar 6. This is the grand finale. We're going to recap chapter 1 to chapter 5, and then we're going to do 19 and 20. Okay, so Holly, I want us to go, you're going to help us with webinar 1. I'm going to have some notes here to see if you can remember anything that we did for webinar 1. No.
Honest answer. Very good.
Okay.
But what I remember is that story at the beginning and how impactful it is to know those little habits that you change, how it can impact your life, comparing to it's not the big changes in your life that is impactful, it's those small changes in your life. And I think that's something that I got out of that was like the intro, but it talks a lot about how small habits can compound to your life.
Okay, good. Cassandra, you were in that meeting. Do you remember anything in that meeting?
I have to concur with the no, because
There, you can look up.
hold on, while I mute myself and go and find it. No, that's been such a while ago, and I can honestly say I don't recall. Can you hear me? I can honestly say I don't recall too much about chapter 3 or chapter 1.
Okay, so that is the reason why we are doing a recap. So webinar 1, we covered chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Holly said what atomic is. Atomic means very small, atomic habits. So, a habit you don't want today, slowly, if you do it every day, you're consistent, then they do compound. We focused on the importance of having systems in place so that we can fulfill our goals. So having a system in place will beat any goal that you have. Habits do shape your identity. For instance, in the beginning of this, I had just given birth. My goal was to be, to be strong. My habit was every day I would move more. So yes, I did have a habit that I wanted to implement in my life, but I had to have a system in place. So what does that mean? I'm like, every day I'm going to wear my sneakers after I have, breastfed my baby around 10 o'clock, and I will go outside. It didn't matter for how long, so that was my system in place. In the morning after I put my baby down for a nap, I'll just put on my sneakers and go outside. Okay. And right now I can jog, those small habits have compounded to the point whereby I've become stronger and stronger. So my identity was to become stronger, right? My identity was to move more, to be a person that moves more. And then I focused on becoming rather than achieving. So I am becoming strong. That was my focus. And the key quote for webinar 1 was, every action is a vote for the type of a person you wish to become. So the first thing is you have to have an identity that you want to be, and then have the small habits that you're going to be consistent on, and have a system that is going to help you become successful. So basically that was webinar 1. Any questions so far? Anything to add, Adelina?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Cassandra.
Oh, I was gonna say, from now that you recapped, from that I did take on the habit of walking down the stairs with my dog.
Okay.
So instead of, we do have an elevator here, so coming up is a little bit more of a strain, but every morning I would take the stairs and run down the stairs and try and beat the dog. The game was beat the dog through the door. And so I would try and run down the stairs and beat the dog, but it did become my identity. My identity was to just get healthier, build up my healthier heart, my heart stronger, and my to help my legs become stronger. So it was exercise that was for heart health.
Okay,
Identity.
good.
And it became my
Wonderful.
focus rather than my achievement. Like I want to be faster than the dog wasn't what I was trying to achieve. It was just getting down the stairs, me and the dog at the same time.
That's good. That's wonderful. Okay, let me go to webinar 2 and see if this jogs anybody's memory. Webinar 2, we focused on chapter 6, 12, and 13. And Michael, I will also like for you to participate. Webinar 2 was making it obvious. Okay. Do you remember anything from that?
I think habit stacking
Mhm.
was the one thing that I remember a lot. Is like do something familiar and then add on something that you're unfamiliar, so that you remember doing that habit you're not used to, and put it in, stack it onto something that you are familiar. For example, brushing your teeth. If you want to drink more water, then after you brush your teeth, you drink a cup of water.
Okay.
So something that you're going to do every day, and now it's going to be familiar that you're going to brush your teeth and then drink some water if you have a hard time.
Yeah.
So
What about you, Adelina?
Yeah, definitely. I remember us talking about the environment design. If you want to change or make a habit stick, you need to design your environment in such a way that it would remind you to do certain things. We talked about having a basket of fruits and vegetables on a counter. That way you can see them and easily grab and eat healthy. I've changed my environment because I wanted to continue making my own homemade yogurt. So I brought the yogurt maker closer to my reach, so I don't have to dig inside my cabinets to find it. So that was one thing that we actually talked about it in this webinar.
Okay. Have you done anything different about, so you brought that yogurt maker down? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in fact, as far as fruit basket, for years I always kept it on my dining table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Do you remember anything, Michael, about making it obvious? Habit cues, habit stacking, environment design, and implementation intentions?
I think habit cues are a good one. Because a lot of times we use the kind of our environment.
Can you hear him?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
So we get kind of used to our environment and we just kind of see this background noise after a while. So intentionally having a cue that's going to trigger a new habit that you want, I think is very vital. You brought up putting your shoes by your door. I mean, that's a very good one. But it could be as simple as just getting something ready for the next day. That way you don't have to think, you can just pick up everything you need. So it could be like maybe a healthier snack or water like Holly brought up. Just everything all together. That way you don't have to run around and think about it and like, oh, I was supposed to do this new thing. It's already set up for you where you don't have to do anything. You just grab everything else and go with it too.
Okay. What cues trigger a bad habit that you're trying to quit?
Personally, junk food.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to make that the furthest away that I can. That way I see the things that are more beneficial first, and I'll be more likely to follow through on that.
Okay. For me, one of the habits I wanted to have is to sleep early. A cue that trigger my bad habit is if I just glimpse and see like a new Netflix. So I just want to sit down and watch it, and it doesn't matter. It's 1 a.m. and I'm like, oh, just one more episode, and it's like a down, I spiral down like that. And then if I repeat that habit like 2 or 3 days, I have a new identity, sleeping late. All right.
Yeah.
So yes, it's good to know cues that trigger good habits, but also it's very important to know cues that trigger bad habits. Because as I say, for example, for me, sleeping early, sleeping on time, So I have to stay away. So at 9, 10 o'clock, I kind of like turn off my phone. I don't want to watch anything, because I know, like, right. Another thing is, if I want to not eat cakes in the next, let's say, 2 weeks, I normally don't go to Starbucks because I cannot convince myself to get the matcha tea myself. I feel like matcha tea goes well with the pistachio cake. So my cue is just stay away from Starbucks. So it's good to know.
Save them too.
Yeah, and it's save money too. That is matcha tea for $7.
Like
Yes.
lunch.
Yes. Okay, anything else to add, Esther, on this?
Can you hear me? Yes. I'm thinking I read this book a while ago. Sorry, I haven't been reading it recently. But right there, when you're talking about habit cues, I'm thinking of my issues with decluttering, my efforts to declutter, which have failed. Right there, I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to start, getting things moving towards that direction? I'm thinking maybe having the shredder by the door. When I walk in with the mail, I can immediately shred the junk mail because that's sometimes my issue. I can shred it right there and just, maybe have an organization, a mail organizer right in front of me. That way I can just do that right there. So that's what jumps to me right now. But I'm hoping that can be a habit that I can start working on.
Well, Esther, say
Yeah.
no more. If you need somebody to keep you accountable, just let me know,
Oh, great. Great.
We have been working on, having accountable partners, because it's good that you have this identity, but sometimes if you don't have that somebody who says, hey, you said you're gonna keep this, did you buy it, So it's good that you say that, because if you want an accountable partners, we can match you up with somebody who is gonna call you once a week.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. At least I would be working towards something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, let's go to webinar 3. Make it attractive, and for habits that you want, and of course make it unattractive for the habits that you don't want. So webinar 3, we covered chapter 8, 9, and 10. Can you say something on that, Holly?
I think maybe social environment is a good one. Making something that it's like something that you want to do. Because I think that if it's not appealing to you, you're not going to want to change anything. So, and like seeing those little increments, improvements, I think is another thing, because if you don't see any small results, then you're not going to continue it. But I think that like just making sure that, and you have to kind of trick your mind a little bit and say, this is something that's going to benefit me in the future. So,
Okay.
But also social. And I'll also talk about social influence. Like the people you spend time with, or you're going to be similar to them.
Yeah.
So making sure that you're spending time with people that are, if you want to be more healthy, that are eating good. Because I think that has a big influence. And we teach our teenagers to be good friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with making things attractive, because if they have similar goals to you, then you are going to have good similar goals to your friends or your influences, who you spend your time with.
Okay, good. So making it attractive. There's this hormone called dopamine, the feel-good hormone. When you do something, you want to do it over and over again. That's why the scrolling technology, is very, very powerful, because it's one thing after another. It makes it very hard for you to get out of that hole, as I might say. So the same thing, with the identity that you choose and the habits that you are consistent with, figure out how you can make it attractive. Do you have something to say about this?
Well, you've mentioned, like, I just thought about scrolling social media when you mentioned that. Like, I have both Facebook and Instagram, but I don't have those apps on my phone any longer.
Okay.
That's how I added that friction. I made it unattractive. So, and also if I go, and usually it's the Facebook, if I go on a web browser, I told myself I only like the few or comment only on few posts, and then I stop. And it worked great, because it's not convenient, it's not as attractive on the web browser. So I've been doing this for a long time, and it actually works. And this group is a perfect example of community and social influence, right? This is
Yes,
what
definitely.
it seems like we all like to read and learn and socialize while we learn and read. At least that's what I like.
Yeah. Yes. And making it attractive. Just gonna go back to what you're saying. Like this group, there's so many ways to we are focusing on the 5 pillars, right? We are focusing on movement. We are focusing on nutrition, restorative rest, community. If we can do like 1% improvement on all these areas, right? At the end of the year, we can actually see a cumulative positive effect, right? You don't have to be meeting every day, right? You don't have to be exercising together every day. But the way the Marafiki Wellness Club has been structured is using community psychology principles, whereby the problems in the society are not individuals. We need to find solution as a society, together. So it says, like exercise, we can figure out ways we can exercise together, and we can keep each other accountable. So this is the way we make it attractive, by just coming together. It feels good. Even having you here, we are sharing some snacks. We are talking together about a book that we apparently like. So all these are ways of making it attractive, being a part of a community that influences you positively. Okay? Yes. Okay, Esther, anything to add before we move to the next one?
Yeah, I would love to. Talking of exercise, I'm at that age where I have qualified to exercise in the 50 and above club. And so the YMCA has started this, and I don't know whether, because I live on the south side, so the one in Mo has wellness center. And I'm just, I'm constantly telling my patients about this, because I think it's a game changer. I love pickleball. It's a community that meets over there, and they have tons of exercises, and not just exercises, but they also have activities like art and cooking class and things like that, and pickleball. So I guess I would say they have made it attractive enough to get us there. And then with the activities that they continue to add on, they keep us there. And so that to me has been a game changer. And if anyone there can find that wellness center, because they have them all over Oklahoma, thankfully. It's a game changer. If you can just find yourself there and you start working out, before you know it, you're joining pickleball, or they have senior Olympics, senior gala, senior dances, and things like that. And it's just my 80-year-old mom goes over there with her friends, and it's just, I would say maybe that's a concept of making it attractive, because they have things that they can enjoy, and then create that community, because we're all looking for fellowship. And we try to make it to where if I can go someplace and exercise and make friends and do swimming, or water aerobics, or whatever it might be, that's just so many aspects of my lives that have changed, and especially for our senior community. So I love that concept, and I'm sold to that. I don't know whether I answered your question.
Yeah, no, you have. What about you, Cassandra? You found a community there?
Well, yes. I'm that outspoken let's do this person.
Yes.
Because our social manager, a service manager, he doesn't understand the community. He doesn't understand where we are. So he thinks that if he does some movie and the popcorn, then we should be happy. But I'm that one that goes downstairs and I'm like, well, let's have this and let's do that. So the last thing we did a dog parade back in March. Then we did a pool thing for just because we wanted to celebrate people's birthdays or whatever. And then we did a karaoke, which was a lot of fun. Everybody came out and sang. So part of the challenge in my community is to just motivate people to get out of the mindset of this is the end of my chapter and I'm just, close the book. So that's the challenge in my community. But I also want to mention about the accountability partner, how much that has helped. Because I not only had one here with your group, I also had one in the church, and we started studying the women of the Bible, and it was just it's having that group of positive minds is motivating.
I love that. I love you, Cassandra. You know that. Amongst us, another Marafiki, Albert, just came in. You wanna come and say hi? He's our model. He has our Marafiki shirt. We are going to be.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How you doing, Mike?
Yes.
Albert, nice to meet
Holly.
you. Holly, nice to meet you guys. Hello. I'm always hi. How have you been?
What's up? So Albert has our shirt here.
I always wear the shirt.
This is Marafiki.
Good to see
Wrong way.
There you go.
Oh, it's hard to see it. I don't know where I'm
There
facing.
it is. There it is.
Come on. Yeah,
Bring the camera down just a little bit.
the camera is
That's up.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
my
down,
face.
down. Yeah, that's the picture. Down.
Over your face.
Not ready yet. Not ready.
Want to get up and work out in the morning, like that should be like the only thing you should set out. It's like, so you have to get your workout clothes to be able to get that started and get going. Automation's really, really nice, because if there's something that can handle something you don't like or want to do that you keep putting off, that means it's not going to build up. That can be a little tricky depending on what you're doing. But if there's anything that can auto remind you, that way you don't have to constantly try to figure out like what's going on throughout the day or plan for the day before. Technology has come a long ways, so there may be some things that can help out with there. But it's all about removing all those roadblocks, because if you have to keep making choices, one for me, it was I would just wear like shorts and a t-shirt at home. And I stopped doing that because I would have to go back to my room to change in the clothes before I left. And I kept noticing that I kept putting that off further and further until I had to hurry and like get out the door. So after I was done doing whatever I need to for the morning, I would just put on the clothes I needed to be able to leave. But even if it wasn't going to happen for another hour or two, I would already be ready. So all I had to do was like, grab my water and just walk out the door. Because I started noticing it was allowing me to make excuses or put things off. Was causing issues.
Okay.
So anything you can do just to make it simpler, we don't have to think about it, or it eliminates the temptation to do something else. Definitely be, in line with those chapters.
Okay. Holly, what about make it unattractive?
Well, I think make it easy is maybe a lot of things.
Sorry, make it hard. Sorry.
Oh.
That is for the bad habits.
Yes. So, for example, like I was just thinking about this. It's like if you like ice cream a lot, you don't buy it and have it in your house. That's easy. So you actually have to go outside your house to get it. And then it's hard because you're like, oh, I don't want to go outside. And so you actually avoid eating that. And it's more of like that you have to put the effort in to have the bad habits, if that makes sense. So I think that is a big thing. It's like if you want to transition from eating junk food to having a bowl of fruit on your, like, you're gonna make the the good habit easy, but the junk food hard because you don't have it more of it available, if that makes sense.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is you want to say something? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So what if it's your spouse that's what if your spouse
I
bringing the junk food in the house? You guys on a different path.
I feel like that's where like you have to have a conversation with people in the house about your changes.
Yeah.
Because I think it's harder for you to change if you don't have a support system that's gonna allow you to be successful. So I think more of like talking about that, or if you have to, is like tell them, okay, you can still buy that, but don't tell me where it is and hide it.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, you know what I mean. So I think because if you look a lot about like successful principles, it talks about how important like having the support from those that you love and that are close to you. Does that make sense?
Oh, that
For
makes
success.
sense. Yeah.
Yes, because it's really it is much harder. You can still do it, but it is much harder without the support from your family.
Yeah.
Or your friends, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, for
That's a good
example,
question.
I would snack in the evening, both my husband and I would snack in the evening after dinner. So I decided not to do that. And usually it was me who would bring something to snack. So Dino now knows that he should not ask me if he wants to snack, because then I would snack with him. So he'll go and get his own snack.
Okay.
And also talking about like the consistency beats motivation. Like there's times where you're not gonna want to go to the gym or you're not gonna exercise. So it's like having you understand like if you can keep consistent despite that you don't want to do it, you're actually going to improve on a daily basis.
Okay. So the thing is not becoming perfect. So, sometimes, let's say for me, when I go to work, right, I want to move more. And I normally use the stairs, I'm going up different floors. So let's say today, I'm like, man, I really don't want to use it. So I'm going to use the elevator, but at least I'm going to go to the third floor and then use the elevator to go to the 8th floor, That is where the 2-minute rule comes in. Some days you're not going to feel like doing it, right? But just if you can scale it down to maybe like a few minutes, then the consistency is what matters. It's because it's the identity that you have chosen. You have chosen, like for me, I've chosen to move more, right? So even the days that I don't want to move more, I'll move maybe for a few minutes, And then since I am every day I come, I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing that identity, right? So for you, if you have an issue about eating junk food, right? Think about, okay, what can I replace with that? Because you're choosing yourself. You're choosing to have the 6-pack. You're not there yet, but you are on the way of it again.
Right.
Yes. Okay, good. Anything to add, Cassandra, to this?
Oh yes, I was thinking about the bad habit of eating junk food or eating fast food, burger, fries. I tend to have things ordered in a lot, from DoorDash or whatever. But what happens is I'll put it all in my cart and then I look at the price. Money is a really motivating factor. So I look at the price and I'll say, you know what, I could go grocery shopping with the same amount of money that I'm spending for one meal. I could actually go grocery shopping and have meals for 2-3 days.
Yes.
So that fact is just enough to motivate me to be consistent with just like, okay, I'm not going to buy that because that's like $75 for, 2 burgers and the fries. I could probably go to the same app and order some food like from the grocery store and have food for 2 or 3 days. So
Wonderful.
that's one of my major changes.
Hey. Okay, we're gonna go to webinar 5 and I'm gonna welcome my mom. Welcome, Mom. That's my
Welcome, Mom.
Hello.
Okay. Yes, hello. So webinar 5 is chapter 16, 17, and 18. Make it satisfying. Okay, do you want to say a little bit about that? So the points are immediate rewards, habit tracking, never missing twice, and accountability.
What do I remember about this? I do track some habits, and I've mentioned before that I use this app called Noon, and it really helps me stay on track. I just love that check. I did it today. And I remember the chapter talking about a lot of people doing that at work. I think they mentioned the banker that he was checking like how many calls he was making, how many sales calls he was making a day, and that's how he became successful and top salesman. Never miss twice. We've talked a little bit about being consistent. I walk every night. If I miss one night, I really try very hard not to miss the second night. I'm not always motivated. I just push myself. Like last night, I wanted to watch something on TV, but I said I went on a walk.
How did that feel?
It felt good when I came back. It was very hard to leave. Accountability, again, having someone accountable, having support from the family. And finally, I think I have my husband on board to eat healthy. He never had problems with his weight, but now that we're getting older, he wants to be healthy too. Not to not gain weight, just to stay healthy.
Good.
That's really all I remember.
Okay. Love, do you have anything to say? Making it satisfying, you know, like
Oh, making sense.
So I don't know, like tracking. I think my biggest challenge is tracking for right now. And I guess that's the question. You track. I mean, we always tracking the good stuff.
Okay.
Like, okay, I'm making progress. But when it starts getting frustrating, is when, let's say you start watching your weight, tracking your weight, and then you do all this work, and then boom, pick up something. It gets a little frustrating. So what are you doing in that instance when the tracking? Of course, it's supposed to be a positive reinforcing loop when things are going well. But what about when things are not going well? How do you get back on track?
Yeah. Anything to say, Michael?
My experience is maybe you're setting your goals too high.
Tell me topics.
Because a lot of times it is my biggest problem is I am extremely ambitious and I will destroy myself trying to get to some place that's too far. So a lot of times I have to take a step back. It's like, okay, what could I do super easy? There's another book that we read that talks about making it 1% better. So it's almost no effort to improve. But if you do that over a long enough time, it's a huge improvement. Right? So if you're struggling with something, it may be like, maybe it's just out of reach right now. It's still something you want, but can you break it down or can you make it simpler? Even if it's a little step, to still head in that direction, but make it more obtainable. That way you don't build up frustration. Because if you have a goal that's too high, it's like putting a toddler in front of like a 6-foot step. Like there's like no chance. Right. But if you make the steps smaller, eventually they're going to get strong enough where they can handle bigger and bigger steps until they can, climb that 6-foot step. Right. And adults were the same way. It's like you can be ambitious, want this thing that's really good for you, but if you don't take the steps before it, it's going to make it way harder. It's going to make it too hard for you to stick with for any length of time, and then you're just going to get frustrated and quit anyway.
Right. So that you made so much progress, and then you started depressing.
That's just human nature. Like something changed. Like if all of a sudden you broke your streak and you keep breaking it, but something happened in between. Either it was too hard and you could do it for a while, but it's like I don't know, motivation is kind of like a muscle. Like eventually it's gonna get out and you're gonna default to whatever you were doing before. That's why I really try to make it simple because it takes no effort. And that means you can last longer before something like that happens. But it also helps on the flip side of that, like if you have a good streak, you do something beneficial to reward yourself. So not like working out and then you go get like this huge dessert. I mean, that's counteractive. But you could do something, I think it talks about that in the book, like get a massage, or maybe you could go like something more enjoyable, like maybe a movie or something, as long as you don't get snacks. There's something you enjoy doing that motivates you to want to keep sticking with it, even if like your motivation's kind of running out or you're getting kind of tired, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
I remember when Monica, Monica does ballet, right? But she had an injury, right? Where she had her sciatic nerve, right? So she cannot keep, the target that she was. Right now, things have changed, right? She's not operating at the level she was. Now she's operating on a different level, right? So the tracking can change too with what is going on in your life. So I think the focus should not be just the tracking, because that is a job on itself. Get that? Okay. Anything else to add, Esther?
Interesting you bring this up because lately, especially when you have a teenager and you're trying to keep up with all the activities and things like that, I'm finding I'm spending a lot of time just trying to Google AI programs that would help me with organization and things of that nature. And so it's a real issue right now, especially with parents. Here I am trying to get my daughter to be organized, but yet I also need to be organized between my stuff and her stuff. And so the use of AI is something that I'm trying to connect with. That way I can find something that can capture all those things, organization and also tracking, and also being able to get that calendar check marks and some form of accountability through it. And it's something that I'm seeing constantly. So I don't know whether it's a life coach that needs to kind of help me, because I am spending a lot of time online trying to figure out what programs are out there that would be able to capture all those facets that I think I need to be more productive between being a parent and my daughter's activities and success.
You guys, you have teenage daughters. Do you have anything we can help Esther?
When you find that AI program, will you share?
Actually, I did. This lady was talking the last one, and I don't know how real they are because unfortunately I look at the apps and then they don't have very good reviews. I think it was something Cheerio. That's the latest one, and they're saying that it's been created by a Harvard student and it organizes for you. So I'm yet to fully read it. That's the latest one I've seen, to see what it's all about. But if you have one that has been, tried and tested and as opposed to these things which are money, because I think you have to pay like $89 a year just to get, you pay that much and you find it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. That's the problem. That's how they're using it, which I think I realize that's a problem that a lot of us are dealing with.
Yes.
We're all looking for life coaches. We're all looking for programs that will make our lives easier, because one way or another we are feeling like we failed, especially as a parent. You just feel like you're not really doing or achieving to the levels you're supposed to. So anyway,
I completely understand where you are at this point. I have 3 daughters. They are 15, 13, and 4. And my teenagers, they are very active, and I'm trying to do the same thing you're doing. I give some responsibilities to them. I tell them they need to track their activities more than myself. They need to remind me when they have to go places, but it's a constant battle. I have to tell you, yes, it is hard.
We actually use a shared calendar on that aspect. So, and then, which has helped a lot with, especially me and Michael, on activities and everything. And I actually have my own personal that I can put my own reminders in on that, and that has helped me a lot. And Becca is our 15-year. I have a 15, I have a 12, and I have a 5-year-old. And so that kind of keeps us on track. We also meet on a weekly basis on what our schedule is for the week. So
I like
it
that.
really,
Wow,
like,
that's
you
good.
know, we do it on Sundays most of the time. Sometimes we miss this week's, but that has actually, especially during the school year when they're very busy, we sit down and then we sometimes put stuff into the calendar on that day, and that has actually helped us a lot.
That's amazing.
I like that.
Yes.
So you've seen different access.
They use, they don't have to, we haven't gone that route,
Okay.
but they'll tell us something, I'll put it in there. And then it's shared with me and Michael.
Good. And I think using a digital calendar is helpful because my daughter tells me we don't use the paper calendars anymore. Just put it digitally. So,
That's what we use, digital. So me and Michael share a calendar that we use.
We also do that with the shopping list. We got tired of who had it and who lost it and
Yeah.
all that.
Yep. So digital is very, I mean, it has actually like helped us simplify a little bit, especially when we have so many activities that we have to do with clubs and, you know, just, you know, sports and, you know, different aspects of our day. But it actually helps like put us like me, especially me and Michael on the same page on like who to coordinate that aspect. So.
Okay.
What happened to
I like
simple
that.
journal?
Huh?
What happened to keeping a simple journal? Write something down, put it on a list, and
Yeah.
But see, simple journal, you have to find the journal where it is, you know? 'cause
I know.
You're gonna lose the
Maybe a
journal.
big calendar on the wall.
Some people do like a white.
Yeah.
Some people do a physical calendar
Mhm.
and a digital calendar. It just really depends on how organized. I lose things,
Mhm.
and so digital works way better for me. Like I misplace things like crazy. So, so it's just whatever works for you guys, but that has worked for us.
Esther, I hope you got something out of that.
Oh yeah, I think the idea. I'm glad to be among parents because sometimes you feel like the sole struggler, especially when you're older and you still have a kid. So thank you so much. Yeah, digital calendars, Google Calendar. I think is that the one you use, the Google Calendar, just to
That's the
share
Use Google.
Yeah.
Is that right?
shared calendar? Okay,
That's what we use. Yeah.
okay.
And come to think about it, you know, once the family is also successful, because especially like for parents, sometimes it feels like we are just here for the service of our young ones.
Mm.
So if they are not well organized, then the habits that we want to create, you know, are not, you know, we cannot even organize ourselves. So I think this is very important. Having them organized, you know, can also make sure that, you know, we are achieving the goals that we have, you know. So I like that. Okay, so let's go to chapter, this one, the follows. So the follows were make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Okay, make it obvious. How can I remember? You know, that is having the cues. Make it attractive. How can I want it? So let's say like for exercising, you know, if you have a friend, you know, that would be nice, right? That would be nice. Make it easy. How can I simplify it? You know, if do I need to scale it down? You know, like Albert, you know, instead of focusing on running a marathon, can I run around the neighborhood? You know, so yes, let's work on the marathon, but let's make it consistent. Even the days that you don't want to run, just run around the neighborhood. That means you are showing up for yourself. Make it satisfying. How can I enjoy it? Maybe after I run, I'm gonna get a massage, you know,
or be.
or a beer. I don't know how I'm feeling.
Beer run, you know.
A beer run.
So yeah, figure out how can I make it satisfying. You know, this, especially whatever you're trying to achieve, is very daunting, and you know it's very, very important. can say, after this, I'm gonna treat myself to a massage. I like massage, so probably that will be for me. After this, I'm gonna do these nice things for myself. That is how you make it satisfying. And then breaking bad habits, it's the other way. You kind of like reverse all these laws, make it hard, make it unsatisfying, make it ugly, make it very elusive. That is how you're going to break the bad habit. Anything to add on this?
No?
Very clear.
Yeah.
Anything to add on this, Michael? Okay. Now we're going to begin webinar 6, chapter 19 and chapter 20. And Cassandra is going to help us with chapter 19. Go ahead.
Okay, unfortunately, I do have to leave it too. I have a class, but I can tell you that this was like put me in teacher mode. You guys kind of brought up the golden rule a little bit when you talked about like getting to that point of satisfaction, that zone of this is just right. And that's what the Goldilocks rule, just right. Either it's too hard, like Papa Bear's chair, or it's too soft like Mommy's chair where you sunk into the middle. But when she got to the baby's chair, even though she broke it, which I thought was rude and disrespectful, but she did like the chair when she got in it. So that's the Goldilocks rule. It's not too high, it's not too low. It's that zone of where everything is good. And another thing they brought up in the chapter is to don't get bored with it, because they were saying our mind, when something becomes boring, our mind just kind of floats around. And I, as a virtual teacher, I see that a lot. I always have to be in their zone of interest. So because if I'm not, then either they're going to go to another tab or they're going to find something else to do. And that's because our mind is always aware of what's going on in our environment. That's our survivor mode. That's to be aware of what's happening. So if you think about how the mind is trying to keep us safe, if our mind gets to a point where we feel like everything is safe, then our mind actually goes to another thought of like, but what's happening over here? And so then our mind kind of like thoughts over to like what else, because it's always processing information. So that's that point of boredom, like that we can get with a habit, where it's a point of like, okay, well, this is kind of boring. Whatever. I need something else to stimulate me. I need some stimulation. And to stay in the zone of growth. That's like staying in your zone. And I like that they use Steve Martin as an example, because he was a comedian, but they gave like an example of his life and how he kept the habit of constantly doing comedy, constantly doing things that's going to nurture what he wanted to be a habit in his life. I got from the chapter.
What about the point where he said, for the masters who have mastered the game or whatever role, what about falling in love with boredom?
Didn't quite get that part. Fall in love with boredom, because I've always thought of boredom. Boredom is the springboard of creativity. So generally, when you get bored with something, you find something else to do. But I don't know what he said about that.
There's a quote in there, Cassandra, that says the greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom.
Which kind of flows into what I was just saying, because generally when you get bored, you find something else to do, or you find another way. You become creative. That's what
So maybe embrace the boredom.
I think also that. So let's say like what is his name? All these great players are like who is that football player that I love, that he was the best football player.
Ronaldo.
No, not soccer. Which one do I like, that guy?
That's it.
I used to look at him and watch football. Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady and his brothers. Yes.
Right. Do you imagine? They used to do the same repetition over and over and over and over and over again. And someone would be like, "Oh, well, that is boring."
It's like Kobe Bryant.
Oh, Kobe Bryant.
If you read stuff about Kobe Bryant, it's like he did things like he was very consistent on doing the same thing every single day. Like like that's why he was so good, because he didn't care that it was the same thing every day. He continued to do it on a daily basis because he knew how important the foundation of his game was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then probably because he showed up for himself, mentally, physically, spiritually on that same dribble, every time he found a way of improving it. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
that's
guessing.
creativity comes in. That's where the creativity is boredom, but it's you get that spark of like, oh, I could do it another way, but I'm still doing the same thing.
Even for you as a master teacher, right? You're teaching the same concepts to children, learning words, A, B, C, D. But because you're a master in that, you know the importance of that, and you show up every day. But you show up differently for every student, and every day
Yes.
is different. You
That's-
see?
Yeah, that's my creativity. That's where that comes in. Yeah. Even though I'm teaching the same material, how they respond to it is going to be totally different, because one child might love it when I do the reading part, another child might love it when I do, like, I don't know, like hitting letters or something. So
Yeah. Even for you, if the
with that in mind, I have to go.
yeah, okay. Even for you, thank you so much, Cassandra.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Thank you. Wish I could stay.
Yeah, even for you, you're eating healthy, right? Eating healthy will be probably grilled vegetables or steamed vegetables, right? But being consistent with that, that is what's going to make you healthy.
Yeah.
Going for those walks, even when you don't want to go,
Exactly.
that's gonna make you healthy,
Yeah.
right?
It's boring, it's.
But it's consistent,
Yes.
Anything to add, Michael, on that? On chapter 19, anything else to add on that, chapter 19?
I think that so I just made some like small notes about it, but there's a couple of quotes in there that I really liked. One was that half the time you are what you want, half the time you don't do what you want. You need to just win the winning to experience satisfaction, and just enough wanting to experience desire. So that you need to do something that it's like enough to get you to have results.
Yes.
But not not too hard that you're gonna quit.
Yeah, so you need to be on the sweet zone.
Yeah, that's what it's talking about.
And that sweet zone is going to keep on shifting, because when you get better, your sweet zone is gonna keep on shifting.
Yeah.
Good, yeah, I like that.
It's
And-
like super good.
Yeah, Esther, anything else to add on that?
I think of my daughter is a dancer, and every time she's learning a new step, she will do it until she masters. But at that point, it becomes boring if she does not challenge herself a little bit more with, she can't challenge too much, otherwise she gets frustrated. I think that's what you're talking about, getting to that sweet level spot that is still a challenge where she will seek to get better, but at the same time not get frustrated. I don't know.
It's like so I played college soccer
Mm-hmm.
and I was a goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when we were learning how to dive. Like you're not going to dive over 3 people before you learn how to dive. How do you kind of break your fall?
Okay.
And so it's like you have to learn how to do the easy things of how to dive to get the ball before you can dive into the air and be able to save like the ones that are farther away.
Yeah. And even when you learn how to dive over 3 people, sometimes you have to come back to ground level, how to dive, how to break the fall. That is very important.
Break it falls.
Yeah. Okay, good. So these are some of the reflection questions that we have. Which of your habits are becoming too easy? Okay. What small challenge can I add this week? And where can I improve by just 1%? Albert? Any habits that are becoming too easy that you want to improve on?
I would say becoming too easy. I mean, good or bad, I don't know.
Yeah, either way, let's see. That's what you're gonna say.
I don't know. I think I'm getting better at being picky about what I eat.
Good. Are you better at saying no?
I don't know if I'm getting better at saying that, but I'm getting better at recognizing when I probably eat something that
Okay.
like, all right, so it took me a while to run around the block and lose like only like 100. I like running on like 120 calories, and I'm like, I'm gonna eat this, and that's not gonna equate to the same thing. So I'm beginning to realize, okay, it's harder to lose that weight. So watch what you eat.
Yeah.
Because it's harder to run it off.
Yeah.
So to speak. So I think I'm getting better at least that.
Okay.
Because I'm being realistic about how much I actually lost.
Okay.
Calories. I'm trying to balance. What was the other one? It's like
What small challenge are you going to add this week?
small challenge to add this week. Oh, just back to the small habits, just dropping maybe another pound, and, and doing this challenging enough as it is. Yeah, so I'll probably do that.
Okay. Good. Michael, which area are you going to improve just 1% this week?
I need to get better about not eating junk food.
Okay.
So ever since we came back from our vacation, I'm still pretending to be on vacation. But it's my weakness. I think that battle will never end, but I need to get better again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. You have to wear your glasses.
Let's put my challenges, wear my glasses.
Yeah.
Okay, so practical applications, that I can share. Okay, if you walk, increase your distance gradually, add small weights. If you're trying to do more weights, read one more page, than you have been reading. Learn one new healthy recipe each week. Continuously challenge yourself without becoming overwhelmed. I think that's the key, especially for you, Challenge yourself without becoming overwhelmed. That is for me as well. Okay, let's go to chapter 20.
Yay. I have to read my notes just to make sure I stay on track.
Okay.
So we talked about how habits, until now, we talked about how habits are the backbone of any pursuit of excellence. And now we want to mention that the benefits of habits can come at a cost too, which I did not expect when I started reading this chapter. So the upside of habits is that we can do things without thinking. We can get so good at it, and we just do it without putting too much thought on it. But the problem with this is that you get used to doing things a certain way, and you just stop paying attention to these little mistakes. And you just stop improving, and you don't improve on them. So some research has shown that once a skill has been mastered, there's usually a slight decline in performance over time. And I feel like this chapter talks more about people that try to achieve excellence. It's not talking about me brushing my teeth.
Yeah.
Good enough. Brushing teeth is good enough. But if like athletes or riders, or us too, if you want to become excellent at something. So while habits are necessary, they're not sufficient only for mastery. You need a combination of automatic habits and deliberate practice. So habits plus constant practice is what equals mastery. They're necessary, but you need to continue to refine and improve your excellence to establish that. And doing this, you need to establish a system for reflection and review. So this chapter talked a lot about reflection and review. This process enables the long-term improvement of all habits because it makes you aware of your mistakes, and it helps you consider possible paths for improvements. And it took a lot of examples of athletes. I'm not going to get into basketball because I don't understand the game, but I just heard the other day this famous tennis player, Djokovic, he was talking about how he became really good, but he could still not beat some of his opponents. So then he just reflected and reviewed every aspect of his life. He changed his diet, he changed how much he sleeps, just a lot of these little things to become an expert in his game. I don't have an example about myself, so I can't say. Maybe maybe I do. I just can't think of one. But I think about my husband. He's always wanted to achieve this financial freedom, he calls it. And as long as I've known him, he's talked about this. And then he said, I have to start tracking all my expenses. And he's been doing this for decades. And his system improves every day. It looks tedious to me, but he just writes down every little thing. And he talks about, how can I improve this? Like every day he talks about these. To me, they're so small, but it helps him to achieve what he wants to achieve.
Yeah.
So that's one example from my personal life.
What about your job? You have mastered in your job, but what areas can you improve?
I mean, there's always room to improve. There's always room to learn something new. I guess I can myself. I'm a learner, so I never stop learning. Like I just like to learn, but not to achieve to a certain point. Really. Speaking about my job, the next point about this chapter is you have to be careful with your identity, like not to tie your habits too close to your identity. Like we all set a goal when we first started reading this chapter, and I said I want to be healthy.
Okay.
Like that's my identity. I like that because no matter what I do in life, I can be a healthy mom. I can be a healthy worker, and I think about I all my life I wanted to work because I thought that's the only way I could contribute to my family. I went to school. And found a job. There were a few times in my life where I had to quit my job and I felt worthless because I tied my identity to my job. I had to learn, I had to teach myself that's not the only way I contribute to my family. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a sister. There's other ways, there's other things I do. I don't just go work and contribute that way. So this chapter was saying that you have to be careful not to say I'm a surgeon and that's my identity. Because what when you stop working,
What are you?
What are you?
Yes,
exactly.
yes. I like that. So that is it gives you a chance to like really reflect.
It definitely did.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, this is.
I do like
It
that.
hit home. It hit home a little
The
bit.
crazy thing is, it's like our society, that's what they attach to. And so like figuring out like, okay, it's about who you are and not so much about what you do.
Yes.
Because I feel like that's how you're going to like build, more of you and know who you are rather than like what you do.
I love that.
Yeah, because the first time we meet people is like, what do you do?
Yes.
It's true.
Right. You cannot just be Lillian who loves bringing people together. It has
And
to
then
be.
people that like are stay-at-home moms, it's just like, oh, you're just a stay-at-home mom. And then you're like, if you are a stay-at-home mom, like how long that's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's other like it's about what you can achieve as a person. Rather than like what you're tied to on your present.
Yeah.
What I got from this chapter is mainly reflection, because we are many things. Not just even a mom or a wife. We are so many things. So in any space that you are in, you can always be better in it, right? So like if you see patients, how can I be with the patients? How can I serve them better? I think for us, it's mainly a life of service. We serve in different in aspects. How can I serve better in this space? How can I serve better in this space? So not necessarily identifying yourself with what you do, but what you are in these different circles. Esther, anything to add on that?
Um, that's the old age question, isn't it? Just redefining ourselves. You know, when Lydia was talking, I'm thinking about so many aspects of those empty nesters, and now they have to start redefining themselves or their goals, or and so I think with every era in our lives, or maybe, you know, time in our life, we have to redefine ourselves, you know, and that takes an element of going back and reassessing ourselves. So I think about my job, my career, you know, maybe I've done this for so many years. So when the new people come into my era, I do it so much easier. And, you know, they'll look at me and wonder why, because I've done it for 20 plus years, you know, and unfortunately now I'm operating on autopilot, you know, and then, you know, there's the element of AI coming to see whether it can take over some of those skills, you know. So now I'm worried. Now I'm scared. What can I do to challenge myself to the point where I can achieve a skill that AI is not able to replicate, you know? And so just being able to constantly reassess myself, I think, is what, in whatever facet of life, whether it's the parent, my career, my spiritual community, just being able to reassess constantly and finding out, you know, life of service. What am I supposed to be doing in this space, you know, to fully function? Because as human beings, I believe we're here for a purpose. You know, what it is, you know, is what gives us purpose in life. That way we don't lose ourselves when our kids leave, or when you lose that job, or, you know, so just constantly redefining myself, I think, is my goal.
Good. So key ideas for this chapter is good habits are powerful, but because they automate behavior. But, you know, automation can lead to complacency, you know. So we need to pay attention to that. And that's where the reflection comes in, because we don't want to stagnate. And, you know, maybe there's a concept of stagnation that kind of like regress our process. So you have to be deliberate, being present. You know, if Monica was here, Monica will be like mindful, be mindful, mindful meditation in whatever you do. If you're cooking, be present. If you're serving a patient, being present, you know, so that your habits are not just automatic. The most successful people regularly evaluate and refine their habits. You know, you've mentioned about Kobe, you mentioned about that tennis player. Never assume that because, you know, something works today, it cannot be improved tomorrow. So be in the mindset of be open. You know, AI, you know, will also help us to improve on what habits that we have. You know, we take things for granted. So be open in, you know, doing things anew and, you know, afresh.
Be soft and flexible.
Soft.
Was it that quote, this Chinese writer that said something about be soft and not, yeah,
not rigid.
Yeah.
Yes. So deliberate practice to continue growing, seek feedback, review your progress regularly, identify weakness, make small improvement consistently, stay curious and open to learn, you know. Avoid these traps, you know, avoid the autopilot, or the overconfidence and plateauing. You know, those are some of the things that you need to avoid. And when you do self-reflection, you're going to be aware of these traps. Okay. So Marafiki Wellness application, and as a community, we can apply these principles. So setting slightly more challenging wellness goals over time, meeting regularly with accountability partners, celebrating progress while continuing to grow, you know, reflect monthly on what has worked and what has not worked, supporting one another in becoming healthier, not just temporarily, but for life. Small habits build a better identity. Consistent reflection keeps that identity growing. Okay. And, you know, for us, the good thing is we have 5 pillars to work on. You know, this month we can work on meeting together to exercise. We can work on what we're doing, the atomic habits. We can come together and do meditations together. So we do have different avenues to work together. So the complete book summary was, identity, finding an identity that you want to align with, come up with a system that is going to make these habits consistent, and then the compounding effects, you're going to see the results. Small improvements create extraordinary outcomes. So the power of accountability partners. Tell me, your accountable partner was your husband. How was that?
I did not use them very much.
Did he use you?
I don't know. He did not do a very good job.
Okay.
So, I'm being honest. So.
Yeah, maybe a stranger could have helped, a friendly stranger.
He never told me what he was wanting to plan to do anyway.
Exercise.
Yeah.
Which I did.
Okay.
He did better than me.
So maybe for him next time we're going to, connect him with Albert.
That might be a good one.
That'll be a good option. What about you?
Well, Sandra was my accountability partner,
Mhm.
and we were good at first,
Mhm.
but honestly, lately we haven't communicated at all. But I really considered this group my accountability.
Yes.
You guys, when I knew there was a meeting, I read my book, and then I said I'm gonna be healthy. So I was like, I cannot lie to the group. I'm gonna try to be healthy. I think this helped really.
Good.
You guys all.
Yeah, I'm glad we did. My accountable partner was Maureen. She's not here today, but just knowing, there's an aspect of us that likes pleasing. Just knowing that I have this accountable partner, I'm like, okay, I have this thing that I want to do it for Marafiki Wellness Club, and just having her as an accountable partner, I was able to do a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And Albert, actually, he's the one who suggested this book.
It's really good.
Yeah, he was at an airport somewhere and he told me about it, and I'm the person who makes things happen. So he mentioned it.
It's a really good.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
a great book. Have you guys heard of The Courage to Be Disliked? The book?
We can look at that. Maybe we can, because I want to do this at least every year, maybe for the past 6 months of the year, like from
We'll have
February.
to look at this because there's another book called Inner Excellence that's
Okay.
really good as well.
Yeah, we can look at the different books and then we can pick up one book.
Excellence?
Yeah, Inner Excellence.
Yeah.
Just have a walkbook on it. That walkbook.
I don't, probably because it's not, I think it hasn't been out very long,
Okay.
but it's excellent. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we'll be
We'll do it
doing.
on-
Yeah.
You can find it on the channel.
Yeah, we can do that. So like every year, I want us to be doing like a book just like this. So, in our group, we have like different people. There's some people who like doing this kind of work. There are people who like kind of like meeting and doing things together. So this club is going to accommodate everybody. Is there a book that you want us to consider, Michael? Is there a book that you'd like for us to consider?
Extreme Ownership's a good one.
Okay.
It's from 2 David Sills. So it talks about everything and how to deal with, how to apply it like in daily life or business.
Okay, good.
That was
good.
really good.
What's the name? Like,
Yeah, so no.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is
I'm gonna send it
Yeah,
out.
you're gonna look at it up and then we can maybe probably read those books beforehand and then we can choose one book that we can do. Okay? So that's gonna be our goal every year, just to pick one book and just read together. And then have a 90-day action plan. That will be my recommendation. Choose one habit for each wellness pillar. We have 5 pillars, so you can choose one. And then that is over. We are done with Atomic Habits. This was our 6th webinar, so thank you so much. But before we kind of like finish, Esther, did you have anything to add before we go to our announcements?
Oh, sorry. No, thank you so much for this. I really enjoyed it, and I can't believe I've been wanting to come, but I certainly have missed quite a few. But I'm glad I came today. But